Hi, and welcome to another episode of All Things Considered. I normally don't talk about subjects like this because I kind of understand the person that's the subject is about, and I kind of understand why he's doing what he's doing, and I don't really like talking about it much because it creates a lot of headache and strife, and it gets people into arguments. But I'm going to talk about it this morning. It says here, Trump calls on minority congresswomen to apologize after he said they should go back to their countries. President Trump on Monday called on a group of minority liberal congresswomen to apologize to the United States, Israel, and himself, and accused them of racist hatred a day after he said in inflammatory tweets that they should go back to the countries they came from, even if they were born here. When will the radical left congresswoman apologize to our country, the people of Israel, and even to the office of the president for the foul language they have used and the terrible things they have said, Trump said in new tweets Monday. So many people are angry at them and their horrible and disgusting actions. I can't take this anymore because even though I understand why Donald Trump is doing this, I get it. Donald Trump never wanted to be president. He ran thinking it was going to bolster his ratings for his TV show. He assumed that he would go back to being business as usual, that eventually he would drop out of the race, and that somebody else would be picked, like Jeb Bush or somebody else. But guess what? That did not happen. As soon as people like Jeb Bush and Paul Ryan and various other people dropped out of the race, Trump started to get scared because now it looks like he is the nominee for the Republican Party. Well, he counts on Hillary becoming president. He even went so far as to drop audio into the news feeds that talked about him grabbing a woman wherever he wanted to grab her, and her being okay with it because he was rich and a celebrity. That was not quite as old, and it was not quite as accidental as you may think. No matter what Donald Trump did on his campaign to get people to not vote for him, the worse he was, the better they liked him. Donald Trump is doing everything he can to not get elected a second term. Well, I'm going to tell you, although I do not think Donald Trump is fit to be president, he is president now for all intents and purposes. And although I do not believe that Trump understands what he's doing or knows what he's doing as far as running the United States, I do believe that he is trying as hard as he can for people to not vote for him a second term. But whoever put him in there the first time will put him in a second time if it suits their agenda. We tend to believe that our votes count, and under normal circumstances they do count. But whenever the United States government needs to get something done, they do not leave it up to us to screw things up. They go in and they fix the election. There's a lot of people that do not believe that that could happen, and that's how the government gets away with it. Just like 9/11, that's how the government got away with it. That's like the space moon landing. That's how the government got away with it. Because there's a section of America that will not, under any circumstances, no matter how real it is, they will not believe that our government could be dastardly and pull off something as devious as that. They do not believe that elections are rigged. They want to believe that America is pure and that our government is pure and that they can do no wrong. But time and time again, our government has shown that they are liars as a whole. Now, there is some truthful people within Congress and within the United States government, but they get overshadowed by what the entity of the United States government does. Now, just like back when 9/11 happened, Donald Rumsfeld was about to investigate the Pentagon over spending and monies that had disappeared that were unaccounted for. And the day after, he announced that he was going to do a great big huge investigation. 9/11 had happened, and the United States allocated more money to the Pentagon for war funding. Then, back in 2012, there was a whole group of money that was transported from Texas. It was supposed to go to New Jersey, but on its way, it had a layover in Philadelphia, and the money disappeared. It was not slated to be used until 2013, but it was printed in 2012. There were brand new $100 bills. The news talked about it for a couple of days. CNN spoke on it once, and as far as I know, nobody else talked about it after that. It just dried up. We don't know if the money was found or what happened. But when Obama became president, there was a batch of money that was given back to, I want to say Iran or Iraq, I forget. But anyway, it was overseas, and we gave them a bunch of money. We got hostages back. I believe that the money we gave them was that part of that money from that hijacking of the Federal Reserve. But I can't prove it. But stuff like that happens. It says here that he later criticized Democrats for coming to the defense of the Congresswoman, whom he claimed had showed racial and racist hatred in their speech and very unpopular and unrepresentative. That's what they were being. With his latest tweet, Trump dug in further in a line of attack that has drawn widespread condemnation from Democrats, including House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, whom on Sunday called the president's comments xenophobic. Republicans have remained largely silent. Well, for one, I don't think they want to bite the hand that feeds them. And for two, I don't believe that they are willing to go against Trump. It says here, Donald Trump tweeted this: the Democrats want to unite around the foul language and racist hatred spewed from the mouths of the actions of these very unpopular and unrepresentative congresswomen. It will be interesting to see how it plays out. I can tell you that they have made Israel feel abandoned by the U.S. This is what we came down to. We have become a country that is nothing more than a reality show and a soap opera. That's all we are. After Trump gets out of office, it will take years and years and years to gain any kind of credibility that we might have had in the past. We're not even a country, we're not even 300 years old yet. Our country is not even 300 years old yet. And we have accumulated more problems than some countries that have been around for thousands of years. We have the highest drug rates. We have the highest alcohol rates. We have the highest jail. We have the highest crime. It's not even been 300 years. And some of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights cannot even be interpreted properly. I can understand it if it was like 1,000 years ago that the federal government was and the United States was formed, and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence and all of that good stuff. I can understand if it was 1,000 years ago, misinterpreting the Bill of Rights. But when you have something as simple as the Second Amendment, and you've got a handful of Americans that don't understand what the Second Amendment is, as it is written, that's just sad. I can imagine that other rights will be taken away from us too, like the right to free travel. Back in the day, Supreme Court justices backed up our ability to use our automobiles to go wherever we pleased on the open roads, freely, unencumbered and unfettered, to seek life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. But now, because the states are making loads and loads of money off of the licenses and off of the driver's licenses and off of the tabs and the insurance, they've lumped every single person that owns an automobile into the driver mode. And the federal government is afraid to go against the states because the states are making a ton of money. Oh, yes, they're making a ton of money, and then once in a while they'll start fixing some of the roads. And I get it, that costs money. I do. I understand that costs money. But when you got millions of people every day getting a driver's license at about $24 a person, that's 24 times a million. That's like, what, 24 million a day? That's a lot of money if you rack it all up. They say, oh, it's just a drop in a bucket compared to what we spend. No, it's not. The driver's license was not intended for the actual person that owns an automobile that travels. It is a contrivance that was created as a pleasure automobile, one that is used for home use and private purposes. What you do with it is on you, but what it was created for is another story. The reason I bring this up is because we have the 9th Amendment, and the 9th Amendment says that we are supposed to have rights that are not written down, that are protected from the government. But I guess they're only protected as long as the United States government sees fit to make them a privilege. Back to what I was saying, which I got off on a tangent there, you have to forgive me. But I don't understand exactly why Trump... oh, I know what my train of thought was. You have to pardon me. I was talking about how things are not equal completely. Donald Trump's tweeting and other people's tweeting. Why is it that other people get in trouble and Donald Trump doesn't? Other people get taken off of Twitter and he doesn't. Is that because he's the president? Anyway, before I get too far off, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for tuning in. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment at the bottom if you have something you want to add into this. If you don't want to add into this, that's fine. But if you do, let's start a conversation and get talking. I will respond to anything that's posted, no matter how idiotic, no matter how smart, whether or not it's... but as long as it's part of this here. Like and subscribe. I'm trying to get my videos off the ground. If you think I can do a better job, let me know. I'll see what I can do. If you have an idea for a video, let me know and I'll see what I can do. Again, this has been All Things Considered. Have a good morning, America, and all points abroad.